All right, so this lesson is just to kind of get you ready to do something really important that we're going to spend a lot of time working on in pre-cal. So we have 30, 60, 90 triangle, and you guys learned this kind of in geometry. We're just going to do something a little different with it. So we're going to end up with several different 30, 60, 90 triangles or 45, 45, 90 triangles. And we're just going to label the sides using the proportions. So anytime I see a 30, 60, 90 triangle on this lesson, opposite of 30 degrees, I'm going to label that side 1. The hypotenuse is going to be 2. And then opposite of 60 is the square root of 3. All right, so you'll hear me say that over and over and over. Opposite of 30 degrees is 1, hypotenuse is 2, opposite of 60 is the square root of 3, right? And then the 45, 45, 90 triangles are a little easier. There's a little less to remember because both of the angles are 45. The sides opposite of those should be equal. So they're both going to be 1. And then the hypotenuse is going to be the square root of 2. All right. So what we're getting ready to do next, you're going to need to be extremely familiar with how to label these triangles. All right. So I'm going to do several of these with you, and then your assignment is going to be to finish. So I have a triangle drawn in quadrant 1. The angle at the origin is 60 degrees, and I have a right angle. So I automatically know if this angle is 60 degrees, this angle is 30 degrees, and opposite of 30 degrees is 1. The hypotenuse is 2, and opposite of 60 is the square root of 3. All right, so that's what I would do. All right, now the next 3 are a little more challenging because we aren't given the angle that is inside of the triangle. We're given a just angle in standard form. So we have to find it. All right, and so what that's called, the angle inside the triangle, is called the reference angle. And depending on what quadrant your angle is in, you do different things. But if I want to find the angle in quadrant 2, the reference angle in quadrant 2, like I have here, what I do is I take 180 degrees and subtract my angle from it. All right, and that's going to give me 45 degrees. Right, now that is not how you do it on number 3, and that is not how you do it on number 4. So it just depends on what quadrant you're in. So we will get 45 degrees, and then on 45, 45, 90, both of the legs are 1, and the hypotenuse is the square root of 2. All right. Then for number 3, I need to find that angle inside of the triangle. All right, so different quadrant, we're going to have a different rule. We're still going to use 180 degrees. So when we're finding reference angles, we always use 180 degrees or 360 degrees. We're not going to ever use 90 degrees. We're not ever going to use 270. Only 180 and 360. And you subtract in a way that you're going to get a positive value. So for this reference angle here, we would do 210 minus 180. That's going to give us 30 degrees. So that means this angle inside here is 30 degrees. All right, now I know on a 30, 60, 90 triangle, opposite of 30 degrees is 1, hypotenuse is 2, opposite of 60 degrees is the square root of 3. All right, then on number 4, when I want to find the reference angle, when it's in quadrant 4. This is one where I'm going to use 360. So I'm going to take 360 degrees and subtract 300 from it. And that's going to give us our angle inside the triangle. All right, so that means if this is 90 and this is 60, this one is 30. And I know opposite of 30 is 1, hypotenuse is 2, opposite of 60 is the square root of 3. All right, so that's what I want you guys to do on the rest of those triangles. Then we're going to skip down to these quadrant angles. So there are some times when we're going to have to find the sine, cosine, tangent, everything, and we don't have a triangle because there are angles that don't form triangles, like the quadrant angles. So 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees, and back all the way around 360 degrees are all quadrant angles. And so because they don't form triangles, we use the X, Y, and R rules. Now today, we're not going to do those rules yet. We're just going to find points at those angles. All right, so for 0 degrees, what you want to do is find the coordinates of a point that is located at 0 degrees. And the best points to use are ones that are just 1 unit away. All right, so 1 unit to the right is going to be the point 1, 0. All right, so that's all I want you to do is just graph a point at that angle and then label it using how many you moved over or how many you moved up or down. So let's just go ahead and do 270 degrees also. So 270 degrees, we would just put a point there. And we're going to say that point is the point where I just moved down 1 unit. So I moved over 0, down 1 is the point 0, negative 1. All right, so I want you guys to do that same thing for 90 degrees and 180 degrees, and then go back and do 5 through 10, those triangles, finding the reference angle, and then labeling the sides.